Allow me to introduce to you Peter Mukuru and Percy Fred to take us through this conversation of the value-driven CIO. So this is our point to understand that budget can only be influenced by value. Thank you, Peter and Fred.
Hi, Albert and Joelita have laid the foundation and it becomes so difficult to speak after them. Let's give them another hand clap. I want to like us to engage in a conversation for a few minutes, and then after that, my colleague Fred will wrap it up and hopefully the rest of it. But I just want to have another mic, and if you don't mind, let me come down. I wanted to, colleagues, all of us are experts in this room, and I believe we have so many answers here, so it becomes challenging to stand there and I tell you what the value-driven CIO is. So if you don't mind, if we could have a conversation, and hopefully we can have some volunteers who are not shy. What is your biggest pain point? I know each of us is a leader. You lead a department, you lead a company, you are an MP, you're a CFO. Of course, a lot of us are technology leaders. What's your biggest pain? What gives you away at night? Of course, we shall have some outside, somebody who's out there and volunteers. Yes, there is some. Somebody there, and then okay. Second mic.
Like I mentioned, I use the emerging technologies team, and we know the hype. We know the hype, we know the expectations, we know the task, but the talent available to do what we need to at the pace the market expects, or the institution expects, a different story.
And we share that experience, colleagues. You need the best people in the room, and the funny thing usually when there is an issue, it's the best people who leave first, because they have options, and then you're left with the rest of us who have nowhere to go. Okay? Okay, Mika?
My landscape of the cyber nature is really
Want to throw more light?
Yeah, like recently, Mizro was discovered about over 28 vulnerabilities in Mozilla Firefox. Those kind of things that we have and now we know how. So that keeps me away.
You already thought it was said. Yes, I think you're
the other very for private sector interface. Operational cash, especially related to subscription. Now you're running AI, they are calling you a max time capacity. So infrastructure, bundling program, subscription, infrastructure, talent, the OpEx goes on.
Super. So we have talent, we have risk, we have issues of integrity and honesty, we have vulnerabilities and the ever-changing landscape, OpEx. Colleagues, question. How much of these issues we've discussed do you think the board is gathered about, or board of directors? They care about the vulnerabilities, the way we think about it. Because if we're going to be value driven, who determines value?
I think value is created by the consumer who we are serving. The board might be who our bosses are, but they're not who we actually we are serving. They're not the people who are taking the value the company is creating. So the consumer is not satisfied. And if the consumer is satisfied, the board is satisfied.
Fair enough. But colleagues, again, we had a discussion this morning.
I was having a discussion yesterday around cybersecurity, and there is a framework that is called SONAR. That framework focuses on driving value for the business. So basically, investment in cybersecurity is basically aligned to the strategic objectives of the organization. So I think here what drives value are the strategic goals that are being focused on by the company. So what is the company? Let's say if you're the CIO in the company, what are their strategic goals, what are they trying to achieve for that year, and what are their strategic focuses. Then you do a top-down analysis of how then do I tie in my operational costs or capital investment in terms of IT, or how do I align my IT strategic investment.
Again, matters of reflection. And I just want to borrow from what Judith and Albert mentioned here. And part of the theme of the earlier that we had earlier in the morning. One wants to be at the seat where decisions are being made. We want to demonstrate value creation, and I know part of the discussion we just had here. But again, let's also look at the hierarchy. We have the CIO, and I know Fred will be telling us later, why is it that many times when there's a gap, an MD gap, or AD gap, usually it's this chief marketing officer, chief finance officer, and all those people. Why is it that it's never the CIO? Yet, Albert just told us we beat all those guys at understanding the business if we applied ourselves. In my few years of experience, if I would share my experience, the board cares maybe about 5 things. Are we bringing in money? Is money coming in? Are we optimizing costs? So it's either more money, but as you bring more money, you make sure the cost is going down or being managed at that level. Otherwise, you can bring in more money, cost is also going up, the margin is eaten up. Are we managing risk? In the Company Act or any other whatever, risk is a board matter. Okay? You talked about customers, true. How are we affecting or impacting the customers? So our CX or whatever the case might be. You know? And of course, issues of regulatory matters and compliance, especially the very regulated companies. If you're listed or financial services and so on. Of course, each of us has a regulator if you think about it, but of course others have additional regulatory layers. So, as CIOs, when we are having conversations, Jonita talked to us about IP, data centers, DHCI, I don't know, whatever megabits and megabytes and all those things. To what extent are we speaking revenue, my contribution to revenue, my contribution to cost optimization, risk optimization, customer experience, compliance. Of course, there might be other parameters, but if we don't speak that language, if I say I implemented a CRM, fine, we'll clap for you. Okay? So what? But if I say I improved, the promoter score and so on and so forth, and therefore we now see more orders coming in, and therefore these orders mean another million shillings or $1 million coming in, then you can have a valid conversation.